Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the Grey. Today's video, we're going to be looking at the new Horrix Dreadlance box set for the Ossiarch Bone Reapers coming out alongside Broken Realms Teclis. We're going to look at how we can use this box set to create an army of Ossiarch Bone Reapers and get us started playing the faction. These box sets, while they're meant to be, I guess, for the battalions that are coming out in Broken Realms Teclis, they do serve as a great way, generally, to get into a new faction for Warhammer Age of Sigmar, much the same as a Star Collecting box. So let's get looking, though, at the contents of this particular box and talk a little bit about the models that are inside of it. So to start off with, we're going to get a character in this box, and it's going to be a Liege Cavalos. Liege Cavalos are the most combat-orientated characters inside the Ossiarch Bone Reapers, and they effectively lead your units around the table, your combat units around the table. They've got some really cool abilities, like they can do a decent amount of damage with just their base profile, but they also get impact hits when they land the charge. And on top of that, they've also got a command ability which they use Relentless Discipline points for, as do all Ossiarch Bone Reaper units, which can give +1 attack to a unit nearby. Pretty darn cool. Now, on top of that, we've got the 10 Cavalos Death Riders. This is the equivalent to 2 box sets. The first thing you'll notice with Cavalos Death Riders is they've got 3 wounds apiece. So 3 wounds on a 4-up save is absolutely awesome. They've got 12-inch move, which is pretty fast for most Ossiarch Bone Reapers, remembering that they also have the ability to just add 3-inch to that move, which they can get 15. And so this particular box set, its narrative is built around being Staliarch Lords. You can see the color scheme up here for Staliarch Lords on the screen. And the reason why that's very good for things within this box set is it really gives them a lot of benefits that help compound the things that they do well to make them even better at it. For starters, Staliarch Lords, all units in the army are going to get run and charge. This is awesome because we've got cavalry that's fast moving. So we're going to be able to get that extra run onto our distance of movement and then charge as well. We've then got a bunch of cool abilities which once again all just help benefit everything about this army. Now, one thing this box set provides that not all of these boxes do is it is the basis for a starter 1000 point army. It's got a character and 2 battle line troops, as Cavalos Death Riders are a generic battle line, which is awesome. So after we've now sort of taken a look at all of this, we're going to go have a look and see some units we can use to expand in different ways upon this list to really sort of push home this cavalry mounted force of Ossiarch Bone Reapers. And so where do we go to next, I guess? After we've got this initial box set, where do we go to expand our army and really create a cool force? Well, for starters, I'd recommend picking up maybe one more box of Cavalos Death Riders. These are a fantastic unit just to add to your force, and what this will do is by picking up another box, you'll now have your 3 required battle line units for 2,000 points. So this gives you a great way to set up your force, and now you can really build and expand upon this initial base. Something I definitely recommend, though, after grabbing that initial box of Cavalos Death Riders to really set your army into motion, is maybe have a look at the Bone Shaper. Now, I know this is a foot hero, but he has a cool ability where he can bring back 3 wounds worth of models to an Ossiarch Bone Reapers unit. And of course, the 3 wounds worth is exactly what a Death Rider is, so you can have one of these guys following around your Death Riders, bringing 1 back a turn. It's not the greatest, but 3 wounds on a 4-up save, as I mentioned before, is a decent save, and so that's going to mean your Cavalos Death Riders are just going to be able to stick in the fight that little bit more. Your opponent's not going to be able to do things like split their fire or anything against one of your units because the Bone Shaper is going to be there to heal them up. He will be able to just keep around behind them using the run or even using some Relentless Discipline points to give him the extra movement that he requires to just keep behind him close enough that he's able to do his ability on them. Then we were looking at a wizard. Now, I was looking at a bunch of wizards for the Ossiarch Bone Reapers and it really came to my attention that, well, they're all slow, like the Bone Shaper behind that we just talked about. So my thought was maybe have a look at picking up Arkhan the Black. Arkhan the Black is one of the best wizards in the Ossiarch Bone Reaper book, really only topped by Nagash himself, and he's probably one of the best wizards in the game as well. So he's definitely worth having a look in. He's got some decent movement, he's got some decent save and protection, and he's also got an awesome spell in his War Scroll which can do a ton of mortal wound output. He's just all round a great wizard, and with him you could even go and look at picking up the endless spells that come along with the Ossiarch Bone Reaper's force, as he's got access to cast all of them, and they have some really cool abilities that make them soul linked, which means your opponent doesn't get to move them, only the Ossiarch Bone Reaper's player gets to control them. The last unit I'd suggest maybe having a look at to really keep this sort of fast, hard-hitting force in mind is having a look at the Morghast. Whether Archai or Harbingers, it doesn't really matter. They have fly, they're fast, And the fly here is incredibly important. The one downside of Kavalos Death Riders is they don't have fly. This means that terrain and intervening models and screens and all that like can get in your way. But what Morghast allow you to do is get over those things and really get to where you need to be without having terrain and models in your way. This just gives your army that little bit of an extra kick, and it really just changes up how you can play the game with this particular force. Definitely a unit I recommend having a look at. Now that we've discussed where we can go from all of this, it's worth having a look at maybe a little sample list to see how we can put all of this into practice. And so here we have a sample army list. I put this together, it is 1,000 points on the nose. So to start with, we're obviously playing in the Ossiarch Bone Reapers Allegiance, and we're going to be playing with the sub-faction rules for the Staliarch Lords. As mentioned previously, Staliarch Lords stacks really well on top of Kavalos Death Riders, as it's going to give us run and charge for our whole army. We're then also going to get the Rally Back command ability, which allows us to pick one friendly Staliarch Lord's unit that has a mount or is either hull within 6 inch of a friendly Mortek Hekatos, their unit leader, or is hull within 12 inch of a friendly hero, and we've got plenty of those in the list. That unit can retreat and still charge, so this is just another ability on top of what we've already got, allowing us to do more things with those units of Death Riders and really make the most out of all the movement shenanigans we can do with this army. Now, we've chosen our Liege Kavalos, and he's going to be our general. He has to have the command trait of Twisted Challenge and the artifact Nadir Bound Mount. Now, Twisted Challenge allows him to pick a hero if he wishes at the start of the combat phase within 3 inch of the general. He can, he doesn't have to. If he does though, he gets +1 to hit that particular hero that he's chosen, but he's also -1 to hit any other unit option. So he has to put all these attacks into one mount. Now, the cool thing about his artifact is the Nadir Bound Mount is that it's going to make him roll an additional D3 when he uses the Unstoppable Charge rule, meaning he's going to do 2 D3 mortals on his charge, which is pretty darn awesome. That's a lot of mortal wounds and a lot of damage. He can really go into a lot of characters from small to mid-range characters and really do a bit of a number on them. Now, we've chosen to take 2 Mortison Bone Shapers in the army, and we've got their spells there, which the first one is going to have Empower Nadirite Weapons. What this one does is our Nadirite Weapons on our Kavalos Death Riders, when we roll a 6 to hit with them, they get 2 hits instead of 1. And this procs, as mentioned, on a 6. Now, Empower Nadirite Weapons makes that so it's a 5, but it also states in the rule that when a unit of Death Riders charge, they normally get it on 5s already because they get the bonus, but this changes it to 4s on the charge. So this can really get a lot more attacks out of our small units of Kavalos Death Riders. Our other Mortison Bone Shaper is going to have the spell Arcane Command, which is a really nice, easy to cast spell, which gives us some extra Relentless Discipline points. This is going to be really important as we've got a ton of command abilities we want to be able to use. We want to be able to put extra attacks on, we want to be able to retreat and charge, we want to be able to use extra movement, so we really want as many Relentless Discipline points as we can throughout the whole army. Battle line, pretty simple. We're going to have 3 units of Kavalos Death Riders, and they are going to be the main hitting force along with our Liege Kavalos, and we're going to have the Bone Shapers sort of following behind, putting that Empowered Nadirite Weapons buff where he needs it. The last thing that should be mentioned as well is the 2 Mortison Bone Shapers have a cool spell where they get to pick an enemy unit, and every model in that unit that's within 18 inch of the caster, you roll a dice, and on a 6 it's a mortal wound. It's not great, but it's a nice little additional mortal wounds. If you don't need the Relentless Discipline points that turn, and you've got big hordes to deal with, it can be a good way to start trying to thin them out so your Death Riders can deal with them more easily. What do you think of this list though? What do you think of the box set, and are you happy with it? Let us know in the comments below, and what would you do with this box set? Well, thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to come chat more with me and other members of our little community here at Sinful Gaming, you can do so by coming and joining our Discord server, which you'll find a link to in the description of the video. While you're on YouTube as well, go check out my featured channel section, which contains a bunch of other fantastic Age of Sigmar content creators doing everything from battle reports, tactical videos, lore videos, painting tutorials, and more besides that. Lastly though, we'd like to give a shout out to everyone who helps support the channel via Patreon and YouTube members. Thank you to James, AJC, JC, Christian Weir, Soren, Kenny Lowell, Outer and Shot First, Chaospawn, James Crowder, and Andrew Bowen. Thank you all so much for your support. And if you'd like to help support the channel like these fine people do, you can do so by clicking once again on the links down in the description of the video to either YouTube members or Patreon. Thank you all for supporting the channel though, watching the content. Have a nice day, stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the Grey. Ciao for now.